Police work is a family thing for the Vassars. Dad, Pat, has served the town of Highlands police force for more than 40 years. And against Pat's advice, sons Ryan and Zach have also joined local police forces. When they leave their homes, they never know what they will face. But all three are committed to showing Jesus as they encounter what can be the worst day in some people's lives.
Police work is not merely a job, but a calling from the Lord. It can be a rewarding career, but sometimes discouraging. The exciting thing about the job is every day is different. You never know what you're going to get when you walk through the door. A lot of the calls we respond to are for people who are having the worst day of their life. It's our job to make that day a little bit better for them. Unfortunately, some of these calls lead to our officers getting to see things that nobody else should ever have to see. Because of these types of calls, the suicide rate, alcoholism rate, divorce rate for police officers is quite high. One of the reasons for that is police officers don't express their feelings to others too well, thus bottling up their emotions inside. I've been blessed throughout my career to have Jesus in my life, which has been able to help me cope with these difficult times. Because of Jesus, I typically don't worry about much. That changed somewhat a few years back when two of my sons, Ryan and Zach, were called by the Lord to become police officers. You see, as a father, you always worry about your children, but even more so when they're police officers. I've been blessed that all four of my children have a strong relationship with the Lord, which is certainly comforting for me. Ryan and Zach have both been able to use their relationship with the Lord to help the fellow police officers within and outside their own jurisdictions.
I'm currently a patrol sergeant with a local police department that I've been employed at for the last 8 years. Growing up, I was really blessed to be raised by two parents that kept us in church every Sunday, most of the time twice on Sundays, to include catechism, cadets, youth group, and everything else that goes along with that. It was really cool as a kid to have a dad that was a police officer. From the uniform to just him feeling like he was in control of almost every situation was such a blessing. He never said much about the job, but he really expressed his love for Christ and what a servant to Christ he was by his actions. At one point, he bought a car for a family, which could not have been an easy thing to do on a police officer's salary. Poured a concrete driveway for an elderly gentleman and bought groceries for families numerous times. That really inspired me to get into police work. Fast forward to about 8 years ago, I got into law enforcement. Instantly felt like that was truly my calling from the Lord. But within the first couple of years, I really felt a lot of the stresses that he spoke about and really saw why he did not want me to get into law enforcement. So during that time, I'd really pulled away from the Lord. I did everything I could really to push myself away from God without that being my intention. Fast forward a couple years after that, my wife and I go through Financial Peace University at Faith Highland. It gets us communicating about a lot of things, to include our desire to get back in church and desire to get involved in church and to pursue Christ. So I prayed about it a lot, and the first thing the Lord really inspired me to do was to just play worship music in the car all of the time. So when I'd transport prisoners to the county jail, which would always be a 20 to 30 minute drive, I'd start playing that music, which started to lead to conversations about Christ, and several times actually led to praying with other people. It really showed me how much we were all God's children, saved by Christ on the cross. So then about 2 years ago, my youngest brother, Zach, who's 9 years younger than me, decided to get into law enforcement at another area department. January 10th of last year, I woke to many phone calls and text messages, including one from Zach, to inform me that Zach had been ambushed at work and shot at over a dozen times. I instantly felt sick and actually a little bit responsible because he had been in business school, finished with a degree in business, and did a couple of ride-alongs with me one summer while he was home, and ultimately that was part of why he got into police work. So after the incident, we talked a lot, we prayed together a lot, and we talked about doing this small group finally. So that was January 10th, and by the beginning of February, we had formed a small group. We met for the first time with about 12 police officers from the area. We've met almost every month since. There's about 30 guys involved. And we really feel a little bit of a culture change at work. That there's guys we can pray with, hold us accountable, and just speak with and know we have others that are there for us. This has been such a blessing. I've never felt such a strong calling from the Lord as to what this small group has been to me. This is my Emmaus Road.